What's going to do, Mike here again, another video. I am having to put this Q&A to answer all the questions that happened for the previous video about the Fueltech, and there was about 130 plus, okay? So the video got a lot of traction. I've kind of got people's, minds thinking about this. And I kind of want to give some clarification so in the future, you can see if it's something for what you're trying to do. Fueltech, I am a Haltech dealer too, if you're looking for something for Haltech, AM Infinity as well, okay? I'm just trying to get us away from like kind of the reflash era. EEPROM based tuning, I've done it for many, many years, long time ago. Nothing recent. So I want to do a Q&A. I want to answer some of you guys' questions regarding Fueltech and regarding like your motor, your swap, and anything that you're doing, okay? One of the first questions, it says from Brian, would this work on a Honda D series engine? Yes, it will. It'll actually work on any 4-cylinder, some 6 cylinders as well, depending on how many inputs and outputs are left over. I remember I mentioned previously, if you start getting into turbo and you start getting all these sensors, boost by gear, back pressure sensor, and all these other stuff, you're gonna run out of the 450. You're gonna probably lean a little bit more towards the 550, which has a lot of more inputs, so that you can run all these sensors to protect your engine, okay? That's the benefit. So once you go from like Hondata, let's just say you're at an S300 and you wanna go K-Series, you have to sell that and get a K-Pro. And if you're not within the K-Series family of 2002 to 2004, if you're something later than that, then you gotta go Flash Pro. The problem is with every single one, you got to change the unit. Now, when you run a standalone unit like the Fueltech, it doesn't matter. It's a universal thing. So it can run on any 4-cylinder. It doesn't matter. And that's the beauty of it. If you decide, so say for example, and this is why I like this unit, okay? So say you have 2 cars. A lot of you have project cars that not running, but you're building an engine for it, right? And say, you can only drive 1 car. So say if you decide to put Fueltech in one of your cars that had a B series, okay? You make a harness for it, you wire it up, and then you adapt it and it'll work. You load a tune and it'll run, okay? And then you decided to go to K series. You can actually take that the Fueltech out of the car. If you have your other car pre-wired for it, you just connect that. You just use 1 computer because you're not going to drive 2 cars at once or 3 cars or whatever. You drive only 1 at a time. So what's the point of getting each one a unit when you're only going to be running 1 of them at a time? So if you buy a standalone computer, you can actually disconnect it and then transfer it to any car that you're going to drive. So you can get a badass standalone and then decide to I want to wire all my cars up for Fueltech. Then you just buy 1 Fueltech and then you just plug it in and then load the tune up. And if you get a higher end version, there is actually a menu where it's touch screen. You just boop, and you load up a tune in order to start that vehicle. So will it work for your D series? Absolutely. It'll work for H series, B series. It'll work for EcoBoost 4-cylinder, if that even is a thing. SRT4. It says, but the cost is not close with K-Series. The FT450 won't do the K-swap because no VTC control, so you need the 550. It's 50% more cost than the K-Pro. Yes and no. There's a lot of things from factory that you don't need in order to operate your vehicle. And for example, like the VTech oil pressure sensor. VTech oil pressure sensor does not come on any JDM cars. You don't need it, but for some reason for USDM cars, if you ever look at a VTech solenoid, you have that one thing that sticks out or on top, it's either blue, black, or green. That oil pressure sensor is not anywhere to be seen on a JDM one, and yet for a USDM one, you gotta wire that up. So there's certain things that you could, quote unquote, take away and not use and still be able to use it for a 454 K series. For example, we do have a jumper harness for a K series for the 450, but it has external relays in order to control like the VTech solenoid. So there's one that WearWire makes. This is from Arthur. It says, I don't know, Mike. If an S300 can run an 8-second all-wheel drive Civic, hard to justify the change. It's OG, it's nostalgic, and it's made for our beloved Hondas. Doesn't fit any other car. I get it. It's possible to do, to run 8s or whatever on Honda. I actually even know the guy that has the world record on S300 in his Civic hatch. It's a yellow one. His name is Scott. And, you know, it's like this, oh, I want to run it with this S300. It's archaic. It's old. Y'all walking around with Nokias in your pocket? Flip phones in your pocket? No. You guys are running with like micro computers, supercomputers in your pocket. This isn't the speed at which the unit is. Okay, anything electronic. Are you using anything that's like old right now? Are you using any computer that's old? This is the thing, guys. You might have the most sophisticated software, but if your hardware is old, it doesn't work. Like it doesn't operate like it should. Does that make sense? Because the hardware, the circuitry, everything like that is older. The speed at which it makes changes. You don't understand that like even Hondata is run on an archaic tuning style, which millisecond versus VE, a volumetric efficiency of tuning. Like, you understand what I'm saying? It's just old and it's just slow. Heaven forbid you guys run a Flash Pro, which every change you make is like 5 minutes to reflash. Do you really want to wait that long? And for you that are tuning, or you guys might even be tuning your own car, it's just slow and you're renting the dyno per hour. Do you really want to be there making slow ass changes all the time? No, I know you guys pay the tuner and the tuner is like, remember EEPROM based tuning with the little chip you take out of the ECU and you put it back in? You had to, every time you made a change, you had to burn it on the chip, put it in the ECU, and then wait and do another dyno pull, another hit, another hard hit on the motor to see what changes need to be done. I'm not saying that it's a bad unit. I'm just saying that there's just more better options. Does that make sense? Plus it has a screen. So there's like, for K-Series guys, they have to make their speed sensor work with their cluster. And it's like, what do you mean? The cluster doesn't work. You need this converter and you need this speed sensor converter to make your old analog cluster work. Do you really want to go through that? Or you actually want to have like an LED screen, touch screen on in front of your face, and you could see, guys, this is bothering me. Who rocks like 10 gauges on their car? Like, okay, so you ever seen those FD guys? I don't know, like them JDM FD guys, but they have like 10, 8 freaking little gauges on their dash and their little side pillar at the top of their cluster, and then in the front of their cluster, there's like oil pressure, water temp, this and that temp, blah, 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 boost pressure, freaking back pressure, every nitrous, CO2. Why do you want to run that? You gonna pay attention to all those gauges? No, you have it in one screen. And on your engine management system, you put a protection, an override, if the temperature gets too hot. If this temperature gets too hot, my computer, my screen will flash. It will warn me. It will say, this is wrong with your car. This is the prevention of blowing up engines, guys. You understand that the faster your computer is, that it can protect your engine from knocking, from overheating, from detonating, from a lot of things. And yet, this is like something that people cheap out on. They don't want to invest in something faster. But yet, your phone is newer, your computer is newer, you probably got Apple CarPlay in your car, you probably have all this electronics that are better, and yet you want to ride on it on like something very, very old, which your computer capacitors are rusting. I'm sorry, capacitors are leaking in there. I used to repair ECUs, P28s, P06s, P75s, PR3, PR4. I used to convert VTEC from non-VTEC ECU to VTEC. I used to do all that kind of stuff. Guys, these things are like, they smell like fish when you open it. Like the capacitors are leaking. It's like nasty, bro. And you guys want to run your cars on these and think that everything's going to be up because it's made for it. Denny said, I say modifying your stock ECU is a much better idea than having a totally different circuit board and design built by non-pros. That is not a really good way to think about it. Non-pros as in what? The people who designed the stock ECU from 30 years ago? 30 years ago! Really? Is that what you want? You want a 30-year-old computer power in your car? Your B18C? Your B16? You really want that? Is that what you want? Who's a non-pro? It says, okay, what limitations did you find that Hondata cannot do that the Fueltech can do? I don't know, like closed loop O2 control. You know what I'm saying? Like make adjustments on the fly when your fuel pressure drops, or that's the thing, guys. You don't understand. When you have a slow computer, so say you have these protections, so to speak, right? So your car reaches a certain boost or temperature. If your computer is not quick enough to make the changes to save your engine, then what's the point? Do you feel me? Like when you make O2, stop disabling your O2s, by the way, or your widebands. A lot of people like, all right, I tuned my car, I'm gonna disable this. No, you want the car to take changes from the wideband in order to make the air-fuel ratio different. Guys, you're driving around in different elevation, like DA, everything like that. The air that goes in your car always changes. So you need a computer that can adjust to the changes which are going to happen in the real life driving. Having a computer that is faster and more sophisticated and have the hardware and the speeds to make those adjustments, that's something that you want. You don't want something old. Okay, this was perfect. Fueltech is trash. 350 GT boy. Fueltech is trash. Every YouTuber must be getting paid hella profit margins. Plus these, Fueltech can barely do VVTi cam control, and its hardware is laughable compared to even 20-year-old KECU. Shake my head. So if anyone has ever tuned K-Pro, it is the most strenuous, long process of tuning every cam angle. It sucks. Okay, so let me give you an example. When you guys tune an S300, they give you this little grid that shows like fuel and timing, and it looks like an Excel spreadsheet. So I'm gonna put like a little thing. It looks like that, right? So you have 4 maps total, okay? For Hondata. Like there's extra ones you could do, but let's just say there's 4, okay? Generally speaking, a stock computer. So for 4, you get non-VTEC map, VTEC map. For fuel, VTEC map, non-VTEC map. For timing, when you go K-Pro, it is every cam angle. So the cam angle of the little VTC, the things that you see on K-Series, the adjustable cam gear, it goes from 0 degrees all the way to 50. And then their maps are set up to be like 10 degrees, 20, 30, 40, 50. Every cam angle has 4 maps, okay? So you gotta tune 20 maps, 20 of them. You know how long that takes? Go to a dyno, you're gonna spend it on dyno out per hour at $125 per hour. You want a unit that does it quicker. VVTi control on a K-Pro is like, you know what I'm saying? Like it takes such a long time to do with something that's not fast and archaic. And in the long run, you'll pay for it. But with all the extra additives, you'll pay for it. Now, like I'm saying, Fueltech is already set up for COP. So if you decide to go for the B series and you put coil-on plugs, You have a computer that already does it. So, oh, we're not paying $500 for S300. We're paying an extra $399 for Qual Unplug. Okay? You want traction control? Another $600. Well, stop comparing something that's, and this is not just standalone, guys. I'm a dealer for for Fueltech, and I'm a dealer for AAM Infinity, Holly too. Anyway, guys, when you guys go take your car to tuner, just say you want closed loop O2 tuning. You want the wideband to make adjustments on your car if ever your air fuel ratio is out of whack. So say, for example, I go to the dyno. This is my gripe. This is the #1 problem, guys. So say we go to the dyno, and then we put our dyno, strapped it onto the floor with a fan on it. You think this fan is actually bringing in the air you would go down the road with, like 100 miles an hour? You go on the 100 miles an hour fork. You think this fan going to keep up to put 100 miles an hour through your intake tube? No, guys. A dyno is not the. It's the best what we have now. Okay, but the problem comes into play is when we take that car off and we put it onto the street, it's going to be the different air fuel ratio. So you want the wideband to make the changes on your car when it goes, so that it can meet the air fuel ratio that you request. Give it feedback. Anyway, guys, long video. Hopefully this answers some of your questions. For those of you that are interested in the Fueltechs, we do have links down below. Get a t-shirt. For those who are asking, there is not necessarily a plug-and-play solution. So if you really wanted to, you can add a Fueltech. It comes with the fly lead harness, and then it comes with these things, which would give people the ability to create your own harness if you're good at wiring. And then you go pay someone. Go pay someone to make a Fueltech. Guys, anyone who makes harnesses, please leave your links down below that you can make a Fueltech harness for these guys. But for those of you who are DIYers, and like I don't, you can make your own. This is, we have connectors. We have coil on plug connectors for those of you who want to make a B-series harness with the TRC sells these K-series connectors that you can make. This is like $7-8. Make your own engine harness with a couple of sensors. Guys, like I said, I'm not here to argue. I'm just saying the S300 is a good unit for what it is, but there's just stuff better out there. So until next time, until next video, please like, please subscribe. Peace.